good night, and welcome to another Trackalerts Live. And this Trackalerts Live is a new series where we'll interview some of our athletes from around the Caribbean. And tonight we have a very special guest with us. Many of us would know her from Carifta days all the way back. She would have dominated Carifta Games from the under 17 level. Yes, it was under 17 before it became under 18 and under 20, winning medals on top of medals for Barbados. So, having said that, it's my pleasure to welcome Akela Jones of Barbados.
Hi, Mr. Foster. How are you?
I am good. I'm good.
Good.
It's nice to have you on my program tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. I haven't been
Yeah,
doing interviews lately, so this is big for me.
yes. And I have been watching you, I've been covering you while I was doing a research just now. I've found interviews with Akela Jones done by Trackalerts. And Trackalerts, many persons would know, has been around since 2009. And you would have started your Carifta journey in what, 2008?
Yes.
2008. So
Mm,
1 year, and that was the Beijing Olympic year,
yes.
2008. Many people across the Caribbean, especially the Jamaicans, will remember that Olympic Games because it was historic for Jamaica and for the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Let me first ask you, tell us, what has you been up to? I know, well, I'm not going to get to the Barbados Grand Prix yet, but what are you up to? I know were struggling a little bit with injuries and stuff like that. What are you up to these days?
These days I am very much into I'm back into sports, so that's a big plus to my life lately again. And prior to that, it's just been art and very good at just on runway shows in different countries with my art and stuff like that, and just like really just like building community where I'm at. So like, but now it's like full force again with sports. So yeah.
Mhm. So you're in training fully 7 days, 5 days a week?
Um, we started out slow. I only started training officially in May, and so training has been like since May. So other than that, we train 5 6 days a week, depends on how my body feels because we're getting back into the swing of things. But yeah,
Mhm.
my coach listens to me, and we work together and we come up with a plan that best suits me at this stage and age in my life.
Mhm. And before I get into um, more about training and what's going on now and what's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit about, give us a little background about Akela Jones. Yes, you're from Barbados. Where in Barbados did you, where in Barbados were you born? What was life growing up? How did you get involved in the sport? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I'm from Barbados. I'm from St. Philip, Barbados. As a Philippine, as we were saying, Barbados.
Mhm.
And I started track and field. Honestly, I've always been involved, I think, in something that involved running. So, like, just from primary school, I went to school at Hilda Scheme Primary School up in St. Philip. And from there, just going to NAPSAT, which is the National Championships in Barbados for primary schools, and dominating there, running around with my brothers, running around with the neighborhood kids. That's kind of how I got into track and field, just naturally. I knew from a young age that I wanted to be an Olympian. And I know for a lot of Caribbean sports, like a lot of West Indian sports, like in order to become an Olympian, it usually takes like an individual sport to get there. A sport that involves just you. So even though I'm a big team player, I wanted that dream to come alive, and like, I had to choose between a single sport. So that would have been track and field, swimming, boxing, judo, swimming, cycling, all those sports that are very individualistic. So track and field, however, didn't take like equipment, so that's how I
Mhm.
got into track and field. I just running around barefoot racing the boys at school, recognizing very early like I had like a lot of talent, and really becoming like focused in track and field. So I was invited to the national youth program in Barbados, back in Barbados with Michael Jules and Jasper Blades, and from there just coming through every stage of the sport and ultimately making it to the sport, which is the Olympics.
Hmm. So if you weren't a track athlete or an Olympian at track and field, what sport you think you'd have been um, good at?
Oh, volleyball. I love volleyball.
Hmm.
Yeah, I honestly, if if I was not like a serious contender for like podiums and stuff, I would definitely. I have a friend from Barbados, Shakira Hall. She's the captain of the Barbados team. I would honestly go with her and play beach volleyball, and try to make it to the Olympics as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And what are some of the other sports that you love to watch, you love to take part in outside of track and field?
I don't have like particular sports. Honestly, I'm a sports person at heart. So once sports is on, like I just watch any sport. It doesn't matter what it is, from car racing, it could be trampolining, cricket. I love cricket. Like I really, really do love cricket. So I love to like support the women's team, especially because I went to school with some of those players. And so like just I love cricket. Like if it wasn't like the other sport I love more than track, well not more,
Hmm.
sorry, like alongside track is cricket. So on Saturdays or Sundays after I finish training, you'll probably find me at a cricket like field. You'll probably find me at the
So
cricket field.
do you
Just
do you try to play it? Or you play it for fun? You
nah,
just
not.
watch?
Yeah, I just watch. Just love cheering on people. Honestly, go to netball games when I'm home. I go to volleyball games when I'm home. When I was in Barbados, I trained at the University of West Indies, Cave Hill. So I would, I was a blackbird. That's their mascot, blackbird.
Hmm.
And so I would go and support a lot of the guys, and we would train together in the morning because we had strength and conditioning together. So I would go and watch cricket. They play cricket. I watch the volleyball players play volleyball and stuff like that. I even
Did you?
attended I even attended UE games in Jamaica back
Hmm.
in 2019, I think it was.
Did you attend school with any one of these West Indies players?
I went to all girls school, so yes, so the women's team. So in Barbados, I went to Spring Memorial, so I went to all girls team. But in primary school, I went to school with Joe for Archer, so we were in the same class, and he plays for
Hmm.
England, so we were in the same class from like
Oh,
nursery all
yeah.
the way to class 4. So Joe for and I know Joe for well.
Is that the fast bowler?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember he many people were wondering if he was ever going to play for the West Indies, but I guess that didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah, and I went to school with Kaishona Knight, Kaisia Knight. I know Deandra Dotton. We were the representing
Hmm.
Barbados together at Carifta Games too. And
She
Haley
was
Matthews
at
has,
she was at Carifta.
yes, Deandra Dotton has one
Yeah,
goal at Carifta Games, yeah, in
yeah.
javelin. And Haley Matthews as well. We would have, roomed together also in track and field because she was a javelin
Hmm.
thrower as well.
Okay, okay. Barbados is one of the Caribbean countries. Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, maybe the top three Caribbean countries that produce um, a lot of sporting talent from a wider cross section of the sporting landscape.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I definitely think like if we come together more
Hmm.
in regards to sharing facilities, like how cricket shares facilities, we can definitely do a lot more with the talent base that we have.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Barbados, I remember my first and last time there was all the way back in 2003. Where were you then? That
I
was for the
was
Pan Am Junior Championships. Usain Bolt ran 20.13.
yeah,
Had some problems getting that record ratified because the track wasn't marked properly. It was
mhm.
eventually ratified, and they said he may had run 205 meters.
Oh
2003.
wow.
Where were you at that time?
2003, I was actually I was 8 years old and actually just making my first national team. So I represented Barbados for my first time at 8 years old. So I was around the track, but not at the track at the same time,
Hmm.
probably as you.
Hmm. Yeah, so 2025, you are getting back into the fold of things. I think I saw you last year somewhere at a track meet,
We were?
maybe
Oh,
not competing.
oh, in New York, I guess.
No, maybe
I,
more south.
I don't remember. In Atlanta, I guess.
Yes, I
Okay,
think.
okay.
And you're probably just helping out.
Yeah, yeah. I was the head coordinator for the volunteers at that meet. So telling the volunteers what to do, where to go, how to make the
Hmm.
meet run smooth.
And you enjoy doing these things because I saw you were busy, you were moving up and down and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we don't have that meet this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a good meet, and it was at a very historic school, and but yeah, I did enjoy actually like helping people. That's what I naturally like to do. So like just like having people like for the sport that I love to do that
Hmm.
as well. I think it was very natural for me to just like assist people into how to just show up for the athletes better, show up for the officials better, and stuff like that.
Hmm. Carifta Games. Before I get into some of your achievements at Carifta Game, how important is Carifta Games for you for young athletes across the Caribbean?
Carifta, I believe is one of the most exciting, diverse like meets we have in the Caribbean. Honestly, other than cricket, there's perhaps like not another meet where that population can come together as one, boys and girls of you know. And so Carifta is it's a beautiful like melting pot. I think of the Caribbean. I think is necessary. I think the whole infrastructure of it, including other sports, swimming and chess and different stuff. I just love it. Like I really do. I enjoy my career the games. I enjoy just like seeing other countries. Like every year, you're trying to wonder where we going to next year. So I think it's a beautiful place. We've had a lot of sporting greats come out of there, and you met a lot. You meet a lot of different people. You meet a lot of different you never know how the world just circles back. And
Hmm.
I say that because I'm living in that testimony right now where my coach is a person I met at Carifta Games. Me and him would have come through the ranks of Carifta Games as well. Mr. Clyde Pullen, Olympian for Jamaica as well, triple jumper, former triple jumper for Jamaica, sorry. And so yeah, you don't know who you're gonna meet. Like honestly, I've seen
Hmm.
people come from that and win Olympic medals, Shawnee Miller or Mara McLeod, all these different people. I would have seen them, and we are still, we're still rocking it out to this
Hmm.
day. Yeah.
Almost everyone that won medal for their Caribbean country or their Caribbean team, most of them, maybe 90% of them would have won gold sometime at Carifta Games. And that led me to ask you this question. Um, and you mentioned your coach now, Clive Pullen, former Kingston College standout. Um, who would you say who would you say is your best friend? Have you met a best friend at Carifta outside of anyone from Barbados?
God, I think that I have a lot of good friends from the Caribbean. As I said, Shawnee is a good friend of mine. Clive is a good friend of mine. Um, Best friend, I don't know if best friend, but I have good friends, like good solid
Hmm.
friends that I can call upon, like when things are going good and bad. And I think I think I can call even coaches up. There are
Hmm.
coaches who I would have met at Carifta Games, Mr. Wendell Williams from Trinidad, and he's like a dad to me. And
Hmm.
so I've met just a lot of different coaches, athletes who to this day I still have close connections with and close relationships with.
Hmm. You won your first medal at Carifta. Was it in 2008 as a 12-year-old? Silver under 17 high jump.
Yes, I did.
What was that feeling like? 12 years old.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember much of the moment.
Hmm.
I remember just being scared of high jumping, like running. I used to run around the bar. People remember me from 2008 and 2009, even maybe up to 2012. I used to run around the bar when I was scared. So I would run by the bar, never jump. And then at that particular Carifta Games, we had like I think I had 5 seconds left on the clock, and I jumped and I made it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was last attempt, and I got a silver medal at my first Carifta Games and a personal best because I came in the competition. I think my personal best was 161, and I jumped 173, I believe. And so
171.
171, I jumped. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so just yeah, that was huge
And
for
and
me.
and then what I'm looking at now is saying you cleared 181, and this probably you were like 13 at the time because it was the following year in 2009. That I understand still stands as a age 13 group or world best. Do you
I,
remember
I
anything about that 181?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do.
that was a big jump. I mean, a 13-year-old clearing 1.81.
Yeah, definitely. So I had done it a couple times in the season. Like, so I had done it at the Barbados Secondary School Championships in
Mm-hmm.
Barbados. I think I had jumped 180 or something. And so then going into Carifta, I knew that I could jump 180 or higher. And so it wasn't like a big thing to me, but I looking back, I know as a 13-year-old, like I if I see a 13-year-old jumping that right now, I say that's crazy. So
You
looking
remember
back,
where it was? You remember where was this Carifta Games?
St. Lucia, it was in St. Lucia, I believe.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
2009
it
was
was in
St.
St.
Lucia.
It was in Lucia, and we both, me and Peter Gary, both jumped 181, and she won a count back.
Yes, yes. So at 2009, she repeated her silver medal from the previous year, clearing 180 to equal the championship record. But was it still you losing to Peter Gay Reid
Yeah, I lost
that
twice. So
time? Mm-hmm.
I lost at 12 and 13. But I think for me, like I knew that I was 2 years younger than her,
Mm-hmm.
and like for me, it's never about like winning per se. It's always about doing my best. Like I want to do my best before I win, and if my best, whatever my best gives me, I'm quite satisfied with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, going into the games, I had a year experience behind me. I was like, this year I really want to win. So, I didn't get the goal, but I got the actually we both broke the record, so we had jointly record at
Mm-hmm.
that time.
And of course, 2010, you won your first goal, 1.85. You kept getting better and better.
Yeah, yeah, 185. Again, I had jumped that at the Barbados secondary school championships, and I had jumped it prior to the championships in Barbados. So like 185, I knew I could jump 185 in my sleep, honestly, at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just going forward, I just was like, I want to win gold this year. Like I won silver. I went home with a silver last year, and this year I'm going home with gold, but I'm not only going home with gold. I'm going home with a record.
Mm-hmm. So, Carifta, for you remember how many medals overall you had? Because I remember when you were competing, because you started so young at 12, there were so many years. That's
7 years.
you could do almost 8 years, but you did 7 years.
I did 7 years. I could have done 8 years. I think
Mm-hmm.
they made a restriction on my when I was in first form. Because I had qualified my
Mm-hmm.
when I was in first form as well. I qualified when I was 11 also, but they
Mm-hmm.
made a restriction that I like Barbados team. I guess at the time they thought I couldn't medal, and I think if I look at the results of Carifta in 2007, 161 or 163, one gold in under 17 girls.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and at
So
that time my personal best was 161.
so overall, from 12 to what? To 18, 19 years old, you would have competed, winning medals every single year, improving, getting world age group best. If there was an award for a character athlete of the decade, you should be on top of that list.
I definitely would be in the list. Like I should be on the list. I don't know if I should get the trophy because I could call out a lot of people who were also good, like Natoya Gould. I mean, she was fantastic. Geneva Russell, she was also great. She was a big standout. Shawnee Miller. All those people I would have seen. Shanice Porter. They all used to do different events, and they were all very good. So I should be on the list, but then we can leave it up to the jury and let them decide.
Especially winning medals from age 12. I don't think some of
Yeah,
these people would have started winning medals at age 12 at Carifta Games.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Some of these people didn't have the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to go to Curve that 12 because of restrictions from other countries. Obviously, have their own rules and restrictions going on, and so I don't judge it by that because I know these
Mm-hmm.
other people also were good at that age because I would have competed also with Shawnee in El Salvador at the multi-event championships, and she would have gotten bronze in that event as well. I think she got silver and I got bronze. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Out of Barbados, you move on to where? Oklahoma
Oklahoma Baptist University.
Baptist University, and then you would have gone on to K State.
Yeah.
Tell us about your time at these two institutions.
Okay, so Oklahoma Baptist University was, I think for me, was an eye opener. Obviously, going from a different country, training in different weather. I had to be in I guess, a more religious school, which was not like familiar for me. And so it was some things were a struggle, some things were not the weather, being away from family and stuff like that. I still had success there, and still I think I still have a couple NAIA records that they've not been broken by now. But that was just like an eye opener. I knew I had committed to K State, but I couldn't get to K State at the time in 2012, and so we had to pivot, and which we did, and we came back around to K State then.
Mm-hmm. And you won a lot of what? Big 12 titles in almost
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, I won Big 12 in long jump and high jump and hurdles. So yeah,
At Oklahoma State, who were the coaches there when you were going there?
Oklahoma Baptist University.
Oklahoma Baptist University.
Ford Maston, um, Coach Kennedy, Coach Hurd. Those are my. And then I can't remember the Taurus coach, but he also assisted me with shot put there because I did a
Mhm.
pentathlon when I was there for the first time.
And I'm looking at your some of your personal bests or your personal best marks, and um, don't know how much they would have updated
Mm-hmm.
based on the K State website. 60-meter 747, 60-meter hurdles 8, 200 24 30, 800 225 63, high jump 198, and long jump 680. These must be these two must be your better events
Mm-hmm.
based on the marks.
Oh, the high jump
High
and
jump and the long jump.
oh, I'm definitely obviously on paper. I can't be everywhere all at once. So
Mm-hmm.
I think a big focus was done where I was, from young. We talked about me winning a medal at 12. Well, that's only natural that my high jump obviously has been the highlight of my sporting career almost every single year, and then my long jump would have caught up as well. I think that I was not able to give the best long jump that I could have got in college because I got subsequently injured at the Big 12 championships in 2016. But
Mm-hmm.
I definitely could. I think that I didn't even give my college years, I think, the best of what I had because I was definitely in 2 meter shape. I was in 2 meters and I was in 7 meter shape at that time. But I
Mm-hmm.
got subsequently hurt in the long jump, which was the first event of the Big 12 championships, and never got to continue on from there. Injuries just, you got to rebuild and build a foundation again. I think we've been cut off. I think we have been cut off. And then there was one.
So we had a little bit of difficulties
Yeah.
where where some internet connections, I must say, and it seems as if it happened from my side of the fence. So I was asking the question, how difficult was it to prepare for the multi events? I mean, you basically have to compete in everything. Almost all the field events, almost all the running events. How difficult was it to compete and get it right when it matters?
Yeah, so I would say that I had a coach, Clifford Belto, who is a multi-specialist, if you ask me, when it comes to the high jump and heptathlon or decathlon. He's a master at his craft. He would have produced multiple Olympic medalists in those events. So for me, I think I was in good hands. And so trying it out for the first time, obviously I had difficulties in the javelin and the 800. My other events were in a more strong area. But my 800 was lacking in distance and in time. Sorry, I was very slow in that event. And subsequently, actually, my javelin was improving upon my latter years of the heptathlon because I did achieve a personal best at the Olympics. And I think a lot of people don't understand also, or they do understand actually because um, I only did I think 5 heptathlons in my life. And
Wow.
so the first my in my second heptathlon, I won the NCs. And so I would have done it to qualify for NCs, and then going into NCs ranked number 4, I would have won NCs and scoring the highest on a day one of any collegiate athlete ever, breaking Jackie Joyner's day one record. And so I think for the time that I did the HEP, I think I achieved a lot in that time. I only did it for two
Hmm.
years, and I
Hmm.
think the accomplishments and the progress would speak for itself.
Hmm. And of course, the times I mentioned and or the marks I mentioned before were indoors because you mentioned the 800 is not as hot as you would have wanted. 221.62, your personal best. 100-meter hurdles at 12.94, 200 at 23.28, 100 at 11.64. Those running events, if you were to choose one to do with your high jump and your long jump, which one of those running events would you choose? 800?
No, absolutely not.
Too much work? Too much work? Two times
Oh
around the track, maybe?
no, that's
Mhm.
definitely my least favorite event of the heptathlon, and I think it was my least favorite because I didn't figure it out as yet. It didn't click for me as yet. I think if I had continued and given it some time, that
Mhm.
like everybody else who doesn't quit, it would have
Mhm.
improved with time. But I definitely I like the hurdles and I like sprinting. So actually, I think my 200, if I had to focus on that, like back then, my 200 probably could have got it down to 22 seconds.
Mhm. And your HEP personal best, what was it? 6,371.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, how you'd have achieved those points. Did you think you could have done anything different that probably would have gotten you a little more points or what or anything like that?
Oh, for sure. I think there's always room for improvement. I think there's a
Mhm.
when I would have said that I didn't even hit a personal best in the javelin. I didn't hit a personal best in the long jump. So I had a big area for. I didn't jump 190 something because I did my personal best, as I said, in my second heptathlon of my life. And so
Mhm.
that was my first year doing heptathlon where I set my personal best. So I think like the second year I did it, I was more consistent with my marks across the board, but
Mhm.
there was still so much room for improvement.
Mhm. Representing Barbados at the Olympic Games, which is the highest level that every athlete want to get to represent their country. Tell us about that. How was that for you? What was the moment like? How did you feel going in, and how did you feel after you would have completed your events?
I'll say for me, it was a long day. Like actually, like Olympics, the whole like leaving the village and going and coming and stuff. It was my first Olympics. So for me, I knew that I wanted to make the Olympics. So very early on in the season, I'm like, I'm making the Olympic team next year. Like in 2015, I'm like, I'm making the Olympic team. I knew that from in 2012. I said in 4 years, I'm going to make the Olympic team. And so I did. And so I think early on in the season, we had to decide which events at the Olympics are we going to do, because I did qualify in 4 separate events for the Olympics. I qualified in the heptathlon, the hurdles, the long jump, and the high jump. And so we had to decide based on the schedule which events were we going to do. Are we going to do hep and long? Are we going to do hep and high? I probably was not going to do the hurdles. So we had to decide just between those three. And so entering the stadium and stuff, my coach told me all year, he's like, this is just another track meet with more seats. You know? Like you go out there, you train like if you're at training. You go out there like any other meet where people aren't. This is the same thing. There's just more seats in the there's just more people in the seats at the stadium. And so I went in with that mentality, like I'm going to go in here and do my best, like I always do. There's no standard beneath that. And so just interim and like I guess at that time I didn't understand the magnitude of the weight I was carrying for my country, and like how special that was for my country, being the first heptathlete to represent Barbados, and then also just being, I think it was one or two, three of us were from the Pan American, like the CAC region, the Caribbean and Central American region. So I was quite like excited. I think as the event went on, I was just like, you know what, is this moment is not necessarily about winning, but about learning and wanting to like give your all, not giving up, even though you're not seeing the results you want in the now. And I think that played out. Like my 800 was very bad. I would say I had the slowest race for the season, and and so for me, it was like finish, finish. No matter what happens, no matter what becomes of this thing, at the end of the day, you need to complete 7 events. Because prior to that, in the World Championships in Beijing in China in 2050, I didn't finish, and so finishing for me was like that felt like a gold medal for me, you know. And I
Yes.
didn't want to see. I didn't want to see incomplete on my next to my name. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I think it was. I rejoice in that moment. I think I learned a lot in that moment, and that lesson in itself, I think, is going to be the foundation for bigger and greater things to come in the now. You know, when you put something in your toolbox, you don't know you're going to use, in time, but you know when the tool is there, when you're ready, you can pick it up and use it.
I know the 800 is tough. I used to run the 800 at the World Championships, media race. They have an 800 for media personnel, and I probably did it about 3 times. Unfortunately, they always do it during the break, so no one is in the stadium to watch us go at it. And I don't think I did well because my last one was maybe 234. Yeah,
Still
maybe
faster than me.
234. 234. 234.
Still
Two
faster than
minutes,
me.
2 minutes 34. No, I don't think that's faster than you. You are about
Actually,
221.
I ran well at the Olympics. I didn't run
Yeah.
221. So at the Olympics, I ran a little bit slower. But
Oh,
hey,
you're not saying that I would have beaten you then?
you probably would have.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah, I humble myself and say that.
That picture, if you're seeing it on the screen, do you remember what event was that?
Oh, this was not actually event. This was a plan for the
Oh,
shoot.
that was a plan.
So
That was
this is
for
a
the show.
plan for the shoot that when I made the Olympic team, I was like, I'm going to put on the uniform. So that was the uniform that we had prior to actually Brazil and Rio in Olympics. That was the uniform we had to that. So that I would have wore that uniform at World Juniors and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean that was planned, and it was I was quite
Okay,
proud. Yeah.
nice. Yeah. And this one,
That's when I won NCAA is right there, 2015.
2015.
That was the long jump. Yeah.
How I mean, NC is a big deal. Is really a big deal. What was that moment for like for you?
You said NCs?
You said NCAAs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, winning, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you?
Oh, my first NCs. I was so proud of myself. I honestly was so proud of myself. And being, I think I was the first athlete for Barbados to win in a lot of years since Obadele. I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, don't hold me out on the facts. But just being at NC's for the first time and winning, that was a big deal. And going in as the underdog, like going in as an unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew who I was really. Just a girl, from World Juniors with potential, but not like going into the hat for the first time. I mean, I was quite excited to win. Honestly, like I think my coach knew that I was gonna do something big, and it's just one of those moments where just really look back and say, "Man, I actually did that, and I'm proud of myself." And I did it in a way that it was rough. It was raw. It was
Mm-hmm.
organic. It was fresh. I was fresh on the scene, and yeah, I think those moments are very beautiful when you're like a novice. You're in the unknown.
When did you got injured, and that of course would have set you back? What year was it?
So I was so as an athlete, you already know that
Yeah.
we don't ever compete without injuries. We all have injuries. It don't matter from the first to the last. We all have injuries. There's no athlete out there competing without injuries. If
Mm-hmm.
you are, kudos to you. I'm jealous of you. And so after 2016, I knew I had to get surgery because it's just overuse, like just doing all the events and stuff like that. And so we just had surgery in 2017, and it took a long time to come back. Honestly, just recovery. I don't think my recovery was the best, um, and so it was a big transition for me because I just finished college and graduated, and I didn't have a sponsor and stuff like that. And so it just was very rough. It was very tough. And then I got surgery, and then I was coming back in 2020. Like 2020, I was like, we finally getting into it again. It took me like 3 years just to, get back into the groove. And then we got hit with COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those things. And then I got to, leave Barbados. I got approved funding again um, from Barbados again in October of 2020, where I moved to Atlanta to, basically having like 7 months, 7 to 8 months to try to make the qualification for the Olympics and missed it by 2 centimeters. So I think that, and obviously the ranking points were not really how they are now, where people know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't then. The system was definitely not as well. I was not as well versed in the system then as I am now, and so missing it and not having the rankings also, just a bummer.
But overall, before the last time that you would have found yourself hurt out of competition, maybe for the longest time, um, you'd have had a lot of success representing Barbados. You still have, I think, what, four national records,
I
four
I
at the senior level.
I think I have. Well, are we counting indoors?
Indoors would add to that, but
Yeah,
so you have a lot of records. You
yeah.
represented your country at the Olympics. You won the World Junior title in 2014 in the long jump. Pan Am Games. You won a bronze in the high jump, and NACAC under 23. You won medals in the long jump, in the high jump, and the 100 hurdles. Your
I think I got fifth in the 100 hurdles
or
behind
was fifth.
Jasmine Camacho Quinn, who won 2016 gold. I mean, sorry, 2020 gold at the Olympics.
Mhm. Before that injury, which, as I said before, that kept you out maybe for the longest time. Uh, do you think you would have? How would you rate your achievement up to that time? We mentioned goal at World Under 20 or World Junior as it was. You got to the Olympic Games. You would have represented Barbados at the highest level. You won medals on top of medals at the Carifta Games. How would you have rate your your achievement up to that time?
Phenomenal, honestly. If I can say so myself, I think
Hmm.
that those achievements are very outstanding for anyone from any country.
Hmm.
Those are quite
Yeah.
outstanding marks, and having done them with the limited um, experience I had, because in college, I was 18, 19 years old at that time. I was 19 years old, or 20 when I won NCs for the first time. So just being young, going to
Mm-hmm.
college I went to college at 17, which is not it's young for some people, like, especially like in American system. People go to college and they're freshmen at 19 and 20. I was a freshman at 17, 18. So I think up to that point, like, I was on a good track, like, and those marks are still outstanding to this day, I would say. So
Great. And as I said before, I know you have done very well, especially winning medals from as young, as early as a 12-year-old. This year, you're in training. How has that been going? Where are you? I know you have a competition coming up in Bridgetown. Is it Bridgetown, Barbados? The
mhm.
Barbados Grand Prix. It's going to be a team event, but where are you in terms of training? Um, do you have any competition before that, or when was your last competition? And how are you getting ready to go and perform in front of your people back home?
Okay, so for me, I think that this is a new area and space I'm in regards to I'm coming back to my alma mater, and like there's a new facilities, new trainers, new coaches here now. There's a fresh spirit for professional athletes here at K State, and so for me, I think that I was done. Like, I retired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I never said that in my head. Like, I didn't call the word that, but I knew in my heart I was like, I'm so frustrated with this sport. I'm like, I don't think that I'm done with the sport, but I think like it's the sport is pushing me away. Like, honestly, I'm not blaming the sport, but I'm saying like the hardships of life that it takes to be a professional athlete, the lack of funding, the lack of support it takes to be a professional athlete definitely pushed me away. I was like, man, I have a degree and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
great artist. Like, I can be out here, have a job and building my life and stuff like that. But here I am following a dream. And this dream is bringing me to, homelessness, or bringing me close to not having places to live, and or things to eat and stuff like that. It's really really hard for athletes out there, and I don't think people understand the magnitude of what it takes to be a professional athlete, especially in track and field, especially in a field event, especially as a black woman from the Caribbean. All of those things pile on one. And so, stepping away from the sport and then just recognizing like I'm not done. Like, and as long as I live, like until I have the once I have the opportunity, I need to get up and go again. Like, I need to get up and go again. It's now or never.
Well,
And
how did you bounce back? I know you just spoke about some things and the hardship and things that you'd have gone through. Um, what was the motivation? What brought you back into into the sports that you're going to compete in another 2 weeks?
yeah. So I watched the Olympics last year. Like, almost every event, I was up at 4 in the morning watching, sleep, and back in the afternoon session because they would have been ahead of us in time. But I was up almost every morning, and I had like my phone, the TV, and my tablet on, so because I'm watching all of these different things. I don't want to miss nothing. And so I saw my friends competing, and we talked about this earlier in the interview.
Mm-hmm.
The people that we would have seen at Carifta Games, and those people. So I saw my friends competing, and those people, I know some of them would have been through the same struggle, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't give up, they didn't quit. And I was like, damn, Akela, like, what if we don't quit? What if we do this again, and we, instead of giving up when it gets hard, like, we just like keep believing, keep moving through those things, because those hardships are not exclusive to me, you know? And so I had, like, just inkling. I just like, and then they made the announcement that the new coaching staff of K State. And I was like, so I started to have like little conversations with my circle. Like, I wonder if I can go K State. I wonder if I can
Mm-hmm.
go to University of Texas. I wonder if I can go to, and start back up. Just looking at my options, because I felt like in Atlanta, somewhat my chances were dead when it came to Atlanta. Um, and then not because that, people don't like thrive there. I felt like just the city alone was just not for me, you know? And so I started to call coaches. I started to call I started talking to my mom and my family, like, guys, you think we can do this? And I started talking to the United Barbadians in Georgia. There's a group called United Barbadians in Georgia, and I told the president of the group, I said, I want to go back and train. She said, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you. And and we said, how can we make? She said, how can we make this happen? And so then we started to, get an idea of what it would take. I reached out to Clive then and asked him, I said, what would it take for me to come back and train at KC? And he said, man, we would love that. Like, I really think like you've not reached your potential. Like you've not reached like what you can jump. We don't think you've done it as yet. And that would be great if
Mm-hmm.
you came back and train. And so that was confirmed. And once that was confirmed that I could come back and train under the new train staff, then it was just a matter of getting the funds and get me moving and going. And so that's where my Barbadian people, my supporters, my social media family, they would have came in and we created a GoFundMe and they would have put money in. And that money would have been the money that we're using currently to fund this journey. And so,
Yeah.
and I also created an Amazon Essentials training list, which is still active. Those two things are still active to this day. And, if people want to support, those links are in my social media bio. And so we are still on the hunt for sponsorship. We're still on the hunt for partnerships and collabs. And hopefully we will be on the 2020. I don't know, I hope that I am on the list for emergency funding from Barbados, and also for next year to be on the official list for funding and stuff like that. So we are hoping, and we are being guided by training and faith. And
Mm-hmm.
once I am alive, like, and my coach, he's a deep believer in, like, he's very inspiring. We're gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm. I know you mentioned you'd have graduated with your degree. You mentioned you were in Atlanta. You mentioned how difficult it was to keep training and funding your training. Were you ever being employed fully? Were you working full time and had to train part time? We saw at the Grand Slam in Miami where Pattison would have broke through, winning the 400. I think he ran 43.4, and he had a full time job at at UPS, and he would tell you, he said he had to work night and then train in the day and still have to find time to rest between. Were you in a similar position?
Similar but a little bit different. Obviously, I am not an American. I am a Barbadian through and through. And so using my art to fuel my training for a very long time, I used my art. And I got a lot of backlash from that. Like, people are like, are you focused on track and field anymore? I'm like, I'm doing what I have to do to survive. At the end of the day, like, I have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to live. I have to shelter my head. And so, like, really, like, having to split my focus between track and my art. And I was very good at my art, so people would have supported my art. That was also building to be something that was spectacular, as well as my track and field. People knew me as an athlete, sorry, and now they were getting to know me as an artist, and that was something new for me, and that really gave me a lot of energy while I was down in the track world,
Mm-hmm.
to continue just like recognizing that I'm not defined by just being an athlete. I am a full human through and through. And though one area of my life falls down, the other areas can still thrive. And so really, really had to like live off of my art and the money I made from my art for like 2 years. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that part of your 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 life. What do you um, do really?
Yeah. So I'm into textile art. So I paint on hacks. I'm not wearing one right now, which is a very bad marketing. Don't be like me if you're watching this. I'm fully in athlete mode now again. But just doing textile art, and actually got selected to go to Ghana fashion show, Ghana Fashion Week in 2023 to represent Barbados. So that was a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just representing Barbados on the global scale in another aspect and talent of my life. So that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Barbados Grand Prix is, well, the 5th of July.
Mhm.
Team. concept. Four teams. I don't remember which one of the team you're on.
I'm
I know
on
they
the
have the
Eagles
Panthers,
fly,
they have the
Eagles
Eagles.
fly.
Tell us, what can fans expect from you, and what event will you be competing in? One event, two event?
One, just one. I think everybody's competing in one event. If others that are represented in national team or the sprinters, I think have a mixed relay, but most of the other people we're just one event. And so I'll be doing the long jump, which is my specialized event for now for this year. Perhaps I don't know if I'll add something else after this, but I'm really just trying to regain my footing and stuff like that in the long jump. And so I'll be competing. Um, we've had limited practice, as I said earlier in the interview. We just started training, like literally, like at the beginning of May. So we are probably only 7, 8 weeks into training. And so at the Grand Prix, we will be 8 weeks into training then,
Mm-hmm.
and 8, 9, a little bit. But it's gonna be. I don't know what to expect. What I can tell you to expect from me is that I would give my best. I'm always going
Mm-hmm.
to give my best. And wherever that lands me, I think that me and my coach will go from there. We'll analyze it. We'll go back to the drawing board, and we will build from there. Um, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. People should not put me on a pedestal either. And it's my first meet back in 2 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm learning a lot of new things in practice. This is a new training regime for me. And so you can expect me to give my best. And you can also expect me to cheer on my other team members. As I said, I'm in Greenhouse, and so I'm in the Eagles. And so fly Eagles fly. And it's my home.
What?
It's my
Yeah.
home, Barbados, which I have not competed in over 6 years. And so to be at home in Barbados, I definitely want to win. Like it's
Yes.
Barbados is my home. I like so the competition is going to be tough. Everybody's gonna bring their A game. And we're just gonna go out there and really and truly just like give it our all. I think this is exciting for Barbados, a Grand Prix in Barbados who's not had a professional meet in years. And so for Barbados to
Yeah.
put this on, not only as a track meet, but with the aspect of it being like house
Yes.
sports, how all of us in the Caribbean grew up with houses and, compete against each other, I think is a phenomenal idea. And the young man that's brought it as well, Aaron Spencer, national athlete for Barbados as well, it's his idea, So I hope that other countries also can follow. And we can also make this event an annual event as well. So I hope
Yes.
Barbadians come. I hope Barbadians come out. There's there has been buzz about Team Jamaica also having their trying to qualify their relay teams in Barbados as well, and Trinidad and Bahamas and them are supposed to be coming, and Team Barbados will also be there.
Yeah.
So like regardless if you're a Barbadian or if you're a Caribbean person who just enjoys sports, come on and support
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I'm also looking forward to that event, to see what it will turn out to be, because we heard Atlas is also thinking of going team segment or team meet in by 2026. This year their
Yes.
meet is going to be, and that's an all female meet.
Yeah.
They introduced the long jump for this year. Next year
I
they're going
hope
to
I
the
hope
team format.
Yeah, I hope that I am doing well enough this year that I can have a spot at that Altos meet in October. Like that's
Yeah.
that's one of my goals.
And speaking about one of your goals that lead me, well, that's basically the question I was going to ask. Having started training late, but the World Championships is all the way in September, what do you hope to achieve? And I know you're not, I know you don't want to put yourself under any pressure this year because you're just coming back and you're still waiting to see where you're at competition wise. But what would be a fairly good season for you at the end of September, October this year?
I do absolutely want to make the World Championships team. I do absolutely like. I think that's my biggest goal for this year is like putting in work so that if the opportunity comes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. And if whether we get that opportunity by ranking or by the distance we jump, I think we have a lot of work to do within that time. And obviously, time is moving because we got to do it by August 20 something. I think that's it cut
Yeah.
off. And so we have July, we have August to make that happen, and it's very limited weeks obviously for seniors in the summer. Collegiate season is done, but that's my goal. to make the World Championship team for Barbados in September this year, and then always also go to Altos meet. I hope I get an invitation for that meet as well.
Mhm. I can hear in your voice you sound confident, you sound happy, you you are also determined, you know what you want to achieve this year. How will you allow that to help you to get you to where you want to get for 2025?
For me, I think is my whole outlook on things now that has changed. Um, like I understand that whatever I manifest and whatever I put work into do, that it will unfold. And that's honestly like that's I think that's the energy that you're feeling is like I am really believing in myself and I'm having fun actually. I'm having fun at training. And my coach and the whole environment, I say K State and especially my coach Clive, is like he believes in this thing. And it really is very amazing when um, you have a coach who really like say, "Hey, you can do it," and here's the tools to do it. And Coach MC Matt Clark, he's our strength and conditioning coach, and he's amazing at what he does. They would have been at Arkansas before, and they would have been behind a lot of even Jamaican Olympic medalists and stuff like that. And that's the key. I mean, that's the secret sauce. Is
Mhm.
like we just really get down in the weight room, and we're very intentional with things, and like I'm not doing it for anybody but myself. At this age, I think I'm in a new decade now. I guess my
Mhm.
womanhood is like really peaking and really like coming out. I've grown. I'm learning. I'm embracing learning as well more. So I'm very open to like community help, and I have a community now also. Like I'm not doing it by myself. If there's a problem I have, even outside of track and field or in track and field, is like now I know that I'm a complete human being with or without track and field, and that makes me want to get up and then just work. Also, I don't have to train for the 800 now. So,
And 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 that was the question I was going to ask you. It seems to me you are done with this multi-event.
done, done, done.
So is it focused now on just the long jump only, or is it long jump and the high jump?
Long jump for this year. I leave an open space for things in the future, but for this year, it's definitely just long jump.
100 hurdles done and dusted?
I can't say that. I could give you as much for this year as I have. I think once I
Hmm.
achieve, the, excuse me, I think once I achieve the things that I want to achieve this year, and we have a solid base and everything, then I may entertain the idea of other things. But I really want to be great at what I can be great at.
Hmm.
For now, like my focus needs to be on one thing. As we said, we started so late. Like I think hopping here and there right now delays like what we have going the goals. So we have to really like lock into this one goal, this launch up. That's it for
Hmm.
now.
What I should have asked this question long before now, but what injury would have kept you out? Which was the last one you had suffered?
Last injury. I mean, we discussed earlier that there's always injuries. And so I say that the major injury that I had was I had knee surgery in 2017, and so I would
Hmm.
have subsequently came back from after knee surgery and jump a national record also after that for Barbados, and so that was the one that really has had me, on lockdown for 3 years from 2017 to 2020, and then COVID hit and we had to go through the pandemic and stuff, and then
Hmm.
I quit track and field for the last 2 years, and now I'm back. So no injury would have stopped me per se from jumping these last 2 years. It would have just been the difficulty of being a professional athlete.
Hmm. And of course, as we are wrapping up, maybe just a little less than 2 minutes to go, I must ask you, you've said it before that you are 30, you you're still feeling it, you're still in it, you you are looking forward to the World Championships this year, and I'm sure you are also looking or hoping to be a part of that Olympic team in 2028. What would you want to be remembered? Um, how would you want to be remembered as a track and field athlete representing Barbados?
I want my journey to end with an Olympic medal. plain and fair square. Like
Yeah.
I want to be the person. I want to create history for my Barbadian people. We deserve it. Like my Barbadian people deserve that medal. I think we've been years we never had a female medal, and we haven't had a medal since Sydney 2000, and so we deserve it. Whether it comes from me or it comes from Sade Williams or Tia Dana Bell, I think we're just really and truly deserving of that. If it's me, God, I would have fulfilled a lifelong dream. The little girl in
Hmm.
me would have been alive. And that's not for me. That's for my family. I come from a sporting family. I come from a neighborhood. I have grown up in the children's home. I have been everywhere all at once. And all of these people, that's for them. That's
Yeah.
for us. And so that's what I want to be remembered for. Other than that, just being a kind and good person. Like I want to be remembered for the person who cheer and is a cheer for people hard, you know? And that's
Yes.
still me at heart is like I love to see people win. I want to see more people winning. I want to see more Barbadians winning. I want to feel like a Jamaican at the Olympics, you know? Like
Yeah.
and I want that to be
Yeah.
Barbados like lifestyle. So yeah, that's what I remember for.
Yes. I mean, it was so nice talking to you for my first show. I'm so happy that you were able to join me for this episode. But before I close, I just want you to have the final say. Um, what do you have to say to young athletes in Barbados, young athletes across the Caribbean, athletes who may be facing struggles, athletes who are hoping to get to the Olympic or the World Championships, or even to represent their country one day? What do you have to say to those young people?
Yeah. I think this is a perfect question. And I say to them to enjoy the journey, embrace it fully. I mean, the ups, the downs, the lows, the highs. Hopefully, you have more highs than you have lows. And I said this to, two young ladies today, actually. I said, three people get a medal, but everybody gets the journey. And so give all you can in the journey because the ending part is not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, once to any person out there, don't like judge yourself based on a medal. Judge yourself based on if you enjoyed the journey. Did you give your all? Did you meet people? Did you build relationships? All those things. Like give it your all and also recognize that you are a full, beautiful, amazing human being, regardless if you did it or not. You're still that person. And so to young people out there, do your best, come. Enjoy the sport, build relationships, have fun, travel, learn. And essentially, like if you get that medal, like I hope that you get that medal. Like I would say, I hope you get that medal. And so just enjoy it though. Just enjoy it though. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining me, Akela Jones. It was a pleasure speaking with you tonight, and we hope one day, we'll do this all over again. And I wish you the very best at the Barbados Grand Prix on July 5th in
Yes.
Bridgetown, Barbados. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Track Alerts. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best.